Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my experience with birth control, how long it took me to get pregnant after birth control, what I took. We're going to be covering all that. So first I'm going to start back in maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I was 19 when I started taking birth control. 18 or 19, I can't really remember. So I started with the pill, and I'm really bad at remembering to do things every day. Like, I just didn't remember to take it every day, and I think I was just too young to. I honestly didn't take it that serious. So I remember maybe I took it for like a month or so, like not even too long. Like, I was just on it for a little bit. So after the pill, I remember being on the Depo shot because it was gonna be the first time I moved out with Kevin. So I remember my mom telling me, like, if you're gonna move out, you have to get on birth control. Like, you have to be careful. You're still going to school. You have to finish school first. So, and I felt like, well, at least he was always really supportive to whatever I decided or whatever I wanted. But I felt like I wasn't ready to have kids yet. So I was like, yes, I do need to get on birth control. I remember going to the doctor, and I started with the Depo shot, and I wanted to get something that I didn't have to go frequently to the doctor or like be on top of like frequently, because I'm forgetful, and I knew I was gonna forget something, and I didn't want to slip and end up pregnant because of me, like because I forgot something. So I did start with the Depo shot, and I liked it because it was every 3 months. So I remember going, maybe I got it for like a year straight. It didn't, I don't know if it was just because I got it after high school that maybe just, some of us, I'm not going to say we all gain weight, but some of us gain weight after high school. So I didn't know if it was just because I was not exercising like I used to, and I wasn't active like I was in high school. So I don't know if it was that or if it was actually the Depo shot that made me gain a little bit of weight. So I do remember gaining a little bit of weight. What I did, another side effect that I did get with the Depo shot was it definitely cut my period. Like, I did not get my period at all. A lot of people would tell me that wasn't a good thing, that I had to regularly get my period, but the doctor would always tell me that it was normal. That was one of the side effects, and it was okay, basically. And honestly, I was perfectly fine with it, because who likes to get their period? But anyways, I remember after that, I was on the Depo shot for a while. So after that whole year, we were 19 when we first moved into that first apartment ever with Kevin, right? So there I was on birth control. After that, things didn't work out. We had to go back to our parents' house. So I was off birth control for a couple of months because I was like, I don't need birth control. Like, I'm gonna be alone now. I just felt like I didn't need birth control. So I stopped birth control. Then a couple months later, or not even a month, maybe like weeks, we went back together. So I knew I had to get back on birth control. So I ended up going back on the Depo shot because I just liked how I had to go every 3 months. Like, I said, I didn't have to be on top of it. So I get the Depo shot, and I was on the Depo shot for a long time. I want to say like 3 years. I had to get a pregnancy test to make sure that I wasn't pregnant. It was a whole process. Like, you couldn't just get it if you wanted it. You had to wait like 2 weeks, I believe. So I did that. I waited a couple weeks to end up getting the Depo shot. I was on it for like 2-3 years, I want to say. After that, I ended up moving to the Nexplanon. So the Nexplanon is a little device they put. It's like it looks like a little toothpick, literally. Like, it's really tiny and skinny, and they put it into your arm. It gives you a little scar. I'll put a picture on so that you guys can see. But I did get a little tiny scar. They do cut you a little bit, and honestly, it didn't hurt when they inserted the Nexplanon in my arm. But I ended up going to that one because the doctor recommended it to me, because I told them that actually my refills for the Depo shot were done already. So I had to see the doctor so they could give me the okay to get the Depo shot again, or get another birth control. So I decided to change to the Nexplanon. So they were explaining to me how the Nexplanon was, I believe, from 3 to 5 years. Like, you can take it off whenever you wanted to. They just insert it and that's it. Like, I don't have to be going back to the doctor. That was basically it. And I was like, okay, perfect. Like, I don't even have to come every 3 months now. Like, they just put that on and that's it. So I was pretty excited about that, but I was low-key a little bit nervous because I was like, maybe is it gonna hurt? Like, you know, I didn't know anybody that had gotten that before, so I was just nervous to see if it was gonna hurt or not. But the doctor was like, no, it doesn't hurt. It's a simple procedure. Like, it's really fast. And I was like, okay. So I go in, I get it. It didn't hurt. Like I said, it didn't hurt at all. I think they numb you. They numbed me a little bit, and then they insert the device. But what I did get was a big old bruise. Like, I had a big ass bruise for maybe like 2 weeks after that. Like, it looked so nasty. I had to wrap it up, and I had it covered because they said it had to have like some kind of pressure. So I did have it wrapped up. But when I would look at it, the bruise was so big and purple. It just looked so nasty. I guess like my body was just getting used to something being inside of it, you know. It was just weird. Like, it was a big old bruise. But they did give me a heads up about that they did say that I was going to have a bruise for about 2 weeks. So I did have that. Honestly, I didn't feel like I had any other side effects. I didn't get like acne like some people do, or any of that. Like, I stayed on my weight I didn't really change unless I was like working out and like I tried to lose weight. But other than that, like, it didn't make me gain more weight. But yeah, the Nexplanon didn't make me gain more weight, and the doctor had already explained to me that the Nexplanon was like the Depo shot. So I didn't get my period either when I got the Nexplanon. So I was okay with that. Like, I was like, better for me. Like, I don't have to be dealing with that. So maybe I did spot like here and there a little tiny bit when I first got it, but that was basically it. So then, fast forward to last year. Yeah, last year we had already talked with Kevin. We had been on and off. Like, it was more me because, like I said, like, he supports whatever I decided on. He was okay with everything. Like, he's like, if you do want to have kids, I'm here for it. If you don't, then that's okay. So I remember last year I was like, okay, like, that's it. I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna take off the Nexplanon in January. And mind you, I only had it for like 7 months. I didn't even have it for a full year yet. So, but I felt like, okay, like, I'm only getting older. I'm not even that old. I'm only 25, but I felt like I was ready to have kids. And we had already talked about it, just me and him. Like, my mom didn't know because she would have been so against it. But then again, I was like, it's, you know, it's our life that we're making a family together. So the only ones that have to be okay with it is him and I, and then everybody else I knew they were gonna be happy afterwards. So we had talked about it, but honestly, I was on and off. Like, I was like, some days I was like so excited about it, and I was like, yes, I want to be a mom, I want to have babies, like, or I don't know if it was just baby fever. Like, I had my nephew, my friends were getting pregnant. Like, I just felt like I would see babies and I'm like, oh, I want to have a baby, like, they're so cute. My mom would always tell me, they're not toys. Okay, like, you can't just, oh, baby's so cute, and then put it down and not take care of it anymore. Like, a baby's forever. And I was like, Mom, I'm not saying they're toys, but, you know. And I just felt like at times I was ready, and at times I was just so indecisive. Like, it was just, I was not like fully there. So I remember saying that in January I was gonna get off the Nexplanon, that I was gonna go and get it removed. I didn't. I waited until March. And also I was like thinking like, oh, I want to plan the baby. Like, if I have the baby this month, if we conceive this month, the baby's gonna be born this month. Like, I'm such a overthinker. Like, I was thinking ahead. Like, okay, if we conceive the baby this month, then the baby will be born here, and then work will be I will be off of work for these amount of months. Like I was just thinking so much ahead, and I thought like, okay, like I got this, like we're gonna plan it. No, like it did not go that way at all. I was really like this. I was really like disappointed. Not disappointed. I don't know how to explain that, but I was really like beating myself up about it in the beginning, because I remember when I first went to go get it removed. I was like, oh my god, okay, it could happen any moment now. Like, if we're not, cause you know we weren't being careful anymore after that, you know. So I was like, okay, it could happen any moment now. I could get pregnant anytime. The doctor had said that, you know, you could be. Some women are fertile like right away, like, you know, they could get pregnant right away. So I was like, okay, you know, I could get pregnant any moment, like as long as I ovulate, like I'll be pregnant. So I was really excited, and like I said, I had already planned everything. I was like, this month we're gonna conceive. I initially wanted to conceive in May, so I was like, okay, I have 2 months. So first I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it off in January so that in May I could get pregnant. But I felt like in January I was still not ready. I was like, damn, this is really gonna happen, like I'm really doing this. But March came and I was like, man, I'm just lagging, like I'm just gonna go get it removed. So then I went to go get it removed. I wanted to get pregnant in May, and I remember getting pregnancy tests. Like I would always have pregnancy tests, or Kevin and I would go out and buy some, and I was like, always, my period would, after that my period did end up coming after I took off the after I got off birth control. So my period was never, even before birth control, my period was never regular. It would come a couple days late, maybe 4 days late. So after birth control, it was the same thing. Like I wouldn't get it like one day for sure, you know. I would get it like a couple days late. So I remember I always had pregnancy tests, and I felt like I was always on top of it. Like, oh my god, I'm pregnant. Like, or anything that I felt, I was like, oh, could it be that I'm pregnant? I remember having dreams, really vivid dreams, and then I would Google it, and it said, oh, that could be a sign of pregnancy, this and that. And I was just like really beating myself up and like overthinking, like, oh my god, I'm pregnant. Or when I would get a negative test, I would get so disappointed and like just hurt, like, damn, like, is there something wrong with me? I started thinking, because I was like, the doctor said that, you know, I should get pregnant like soon after I removed the birth control. So I was just overthinking things. You know, it was just something that I had already wanted for so long. I felt like the months were so long, like it was just taking forever, and I genuinely thought something was wrong with me. I was like really down about, I would just beat myself up a lot, and I felt like also maybe that was something that was not helping me conceive. Like, I really don't know. Like, so I remember always like taking pregnancy tests, like almost, I kid you not, like every month, like I would take pregnancy tests thinking I'm pregnant, like, oh my god, this is happening, like I'm pregnant. Or my period's late, 4 days late, which it was always late. I would already take a test thinking like I might be pregnant. So I was really just looking forward to that day where I would get a positive test, and I wasn't getting any positive tests at all. So I was just really sad. I thought that something was wrong with me. So I remember we were already like 11 months in after I took off my birth control in March, I believe. Yeah, March. And then I remember in December, I was like, that's it. Like, I'm not gonna keep doing this to myself. Like, I remember putting the box of ovulation tests and pregnancy tests away. I'm like, I'm not gonna keep taking any more pregnancy tests. Like, if I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. Like, if not, then, you know, God knows why, and God knows when I'll be ready to get pregnant. And honestly, I was like, whatever, you know. And Kevin had already told me, babe, like, seriously, when you least expect it, it's gonna happen. Like, just wait. And he literally told me that, and I remember he told me, when you least expect it, it's gonna happen. So I was like, whatever. Then I was just okay with it. I was like, God knows his plan and he knows what he's doing with us. So I was okay with it. So I remember in January, I started going to church again. Starting January, I was going to church every Sunday. I was just trying to go to church more often, you know. I just felt happier when I would go to church. Like, I remember I went the first time again. I would go with my grandma because she's the one that always took me to church when I was little. So I went that Sunday and I just felt so happy. Like, I was filled with just so much joy, and I was like, throughout the week I was like, okay, I can't wait for church this Sunday again. And I was just going to church for like that month, you know. It was like that January I just started, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna stop. Like, I'm just gonna keep coming to church. Like, I love how I feel. I'm so happy. Like, I don't know why I stopped coming to church. So I was so happy, right? I was feeling good, and I remember praying, and I would always ask God and tell him that he knew when was going to be the right time for me to become a mother, and if he knew that that was a plan for me, that he would bless me with that. And you know, I would just pray about it, and I would pray about how I was feeling. I would just tell God, like, I was okay with whatever his plan was. I was just more happy when I was going to church, and I just loved going. So it was already January, right? I took my birth control off March of last year, so it was January, and I was just like, you know, it's gonna happen. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then, you know, it's not for me at the moment. So I was like, whatever. And I remember, you know, just being okay with not taking pregnancy tests anymore. Like, and it literally did get off my mind for a little bit. And then I'm late 6 days. I'm 6 days late on my period, right? And it was so hard that day not to take a test because, like I said, I had already put everything away. Like, I had already put the ovulation test. I put it all the way in the back of the cabinet. Like, I didn't even want to see them. It was so hard to take a pregnancy test, but I was like, man, it's 6 days. Like, I usually am late like 4 or 5 days. I would look at my app because I would track my period on the app, and I looked at it and I was like, man, it's been more than usual. So I just ended up taking the test, and turns out it came out positive. I was so happy, you know, like I said in the other video. So, you know, I just wanted to share my experience with all of you, just in case any of you are going through something like that, you know, that you do want to get pregnant, or maybe you weren't even on birth control but you haven't gotten pregnant. Just, you know, try not to stress about it. I know a lot of people tell us not to stress about it, but it's so hard to not stress about it because only you know how you feel, you know, and you overthink things, and, you know, but things will happen when they're meant to happen. So I did learn my lesson in that. You know, I was being so impatient, and I was like overthinking things, and I wanted things to happen the way I wanted them to happen, you know, and things don't always work out the way you want them to. So I was patient, you know. It was hard, but I was patient, and, you know, I ended up getting a positive pregnancy test. I'm now 6 months pregnant. I'm super duper excited, you know, but I just wanted to share my experience with all of you, so, you know, maybe somebody else is going through this and it can help somebody else out, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to share my experience with all of you. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate all of you. I'll be back with some more videos. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. I love you guys. Bye.